Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Most people don't realize how much of their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions pulling details about you from public records and the internet, then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might just sell credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of that together at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/prevent. Protect yourself now at aura.com/prevent.
Don't let your decision paralysis demon keep you from watching something great this weekend. Subscribe to ScreamShare, the newsletter that serves up a 5-minute breakdown of the best horror available on streaming. I'll have essential weekly movie picks covering new films, classics that you need to catch up on, and a movie that's always streaming for free. So subscribe now, and you can even be a part of some frighteningly fun watch parties we're putting together that'll let you be a part of the conversation. So click in the link in the show notes or go to screamshare.beehive.com. That's screamshare.beehive.com, and make sure you whitelist your welcome email so you can get updates for all of the news and updates. And now the body count continues. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying time is here. That's right, we're talking about the burden on the Kill by Kill. Hey, greetings and salutations, Internet. It's your old pal, Patrick Hamilton, coming to you once again from Camp Blackfoot. This is the Kill by Kill podcast, where we're dedicated to celebrating the least discussed component of any horror film, the characters. And of course, today we're going to unpack all the goriest details of 1981's The Burden in the hopes that some camp goers' untimely end. It's just the beginning of the jokes we might make at their expense. And as always, there's only one person I trust to build a raft with all the rope that she has for some fucking reason. The one, the only, Gina Radcliffe. How are you doing today, Gina?
Well, I can certainly tell you that, as a responsible adult, mm-hmm. I am not going to send a group of underage youths. Now, to steal Patrick's phrase, I'm mm-hmm. putting youths in giant throbbing dick fingers, but they are ostensibly supposed to be youths. Yes. That she's just here, go on this flimsily constructed raft, go back and get help.
But oddly enough, like it's definitely like seaworthy. Like it is withstanding the demands of getting up that river or across that lake. I don't know where this honestly takes place. I know it was filmed in upstate New York, but they don't really establish, like, at least in Friday the 13th, it was like Camp Crystal Lake. And people generally would either row in a canoe down a river or on a lake, but to my knowledge, they never acknowledge what that body of water is. And I also don't fucking care. Why am I talking about this? Okay, we're going to get this little part of this out of the way, and then we'll get back to the movie, I promise. But it has to be said, okay? Because when it comes to this movie in particular, it has to be acknowledged that Harvey Weinstein is intimately involved here. He is one of the writers. He is a producer. This is the birth of Miramax Films and so forth. That said, Harvey Weinstein is a convicted sex criminal, a rapist, someone who not only used his power in the industry to force women into sexual situations against their will, but when they refused and did not submit to him, he drove who knows how many women out of the film and TV business altogether using that power. I hope he rots in hell, regardless of whether hell formally exists.
Regardless of whether hell is being forced to watch the burning over and over again.
Now, we have gathered over the years that the burning is something of a cult object. We have covered many a cult film on the show, but I am hard-pressed to quite understand the cult of the burning, Gina.
I mean, I think that the primary thing that stands out about it, the only thing that makes to me worth talking about, is the bizarre, amount of people who went on to do much bigger things, and have nothing. I mean, Holly Hunter is in this cast, and I had a magnifying glass out. Like, where is she? Like, she is in. I counted. She is in 2 shots.
Yeah, she's never speaks,
and she has. I think she quietly murmurs to another camper to comfort her at some point. But her character has a name. I don't remember what it was, but she's credited with having a name. And you've got obviously Jason Alexander playing a teenager. And I have to tell you guys that I watched this before Patrick did. Mm-hmm. And I could hear the shock radiating from him, just through his text when I said, like, Jason Alexander's supposed to be a camper, right? He is! And Terabang and Terabang and Terabang. But he definitely is. You've got Fisher Stevens, who is the only, other than a handful of girls, which also barely get any dialogue. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can really tell here, like, the stench of Weinstein is all over this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've got multiple plots about, boys being frustrated because their girlfriends don't want to put out. And you've got a sexually frustrated peeper who ends up the hero.
I mean, this is probably the first time I'd watched this in 15 plus years, right? It had never been for me. And under most normal circumstances, I think this might be a film that we would in the past described as, it might not be good, but it might be great, because there's one scene that's bravura, that's just over the top in all of the right ways. And I can see liking that scene. I like that scene for what it is, but it's not that fun.
And also, you have to wade through a lot of bullshit both before and after it happens.
It is wild.
This movie feels like it's about 2.5 hours long.
Yes, it just.
I didn't even check the real running time, but I feel like, and I said this to you in chat, that Harvey Weinstein went into this hoping to capitalize on 2 popular genres at the time.
Yeah,
slasher movies. And, teen sex / your Animal House, your Caddyshack, your Meatballs,
Meatballs in particular,
which is interesting because Meatballs, if I remember correctly, despite being kind of, pigeonholed into that genre, is fairly wholesome, if I recall.
It's so gentle. It is, I think it was written to be one thing. When they get Bill Murray, his desire to do that type of movie is not high. He would like to show up. He would like to do funny things, but he's the one who pushes for an emotional core to this by relating to the other plot line. It's almost similar to what ends up happening with Caddyshack. Whereas in Caddyshack, it's more about the caddies, and the more they start to film it, the more they learn that the caddy story no one will care about. So they have to make it about all these other funny characters. Here in Meatballs, it's the reverse. They have all the funny characters, but the more they look at it, the more the meat and the juice is this relationship between Bill Murray and this lonely camper. And so they reverse engineer it into something that's more heartfelt. And it's also, while there's lots of leering in it, it really never crosses over into the "have you considered my penis" territory.
It feels believably teenagery.
Yes.
Whereas, here, also exacerbated by the fact that these actors are at least 10 to 20 years older than they should be for these characters, they're aggressive. And you've got these you've got one character who, again, is supposed to be ostensibly underage,
right?
Is introduced clearly braless in a t-shirt and the tiniest bikini bottoms you've ever seen in your life. I'm like, does this camp not have a fucking dress code?
It is wild. I mean,
I'm pretty sure when they have this scene where they're all waking up, one of the girls just sleeping topless. It's like, what now? I mean, granted, I did go to summer camp a couple of times, but I stopped when I was about 11. But I do seem to recall that they send your parents a list of, here is what you are to bring, here's what you are not to bring.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to assume, skimpy revealing bathing suits would be on that list.
Well, it's the 70s, but I also think one of the things on the list is underwear, which this movie has a Josie and the Pussycats desire to simply be underwearless. At a certain point, I started to log how many bare lily white asses I saw. Now, it's equal opportunity white asses, but it's a lot of white asses, Gina.
Yeah, and none of the save for the male counselor who is devastatingly attractive.
Yeah,
I mean, none of these boys look good. I don't want to see them naked, but the boys, the nudity is comical.
Yeah.
Oh, we're mooning the camp bully, but the girls, it's lascivious.
Yes,
and maybe it'd be a little easier to take if these were if this was a training session for counselors, and not, these are supposed to be 14 and 15-year-olds that you're doing a mouth-watering close-up of her flat little ass and a bikini bottom.
Right.
And it's hey, man, I got euphoria syndrome watching this.
It was very uncomfortable. And to wit, if I were to compare this to another film that for a while I had very mixed sort of feelings about, which would be Sleepaway Camp. And I hadn't watched Sleepaway Camp in a really long time. And there was a screening at the Academy Award Museum, ladies and gentlemen, with friends of the podcast and previous guests, BJ and Harmony Colangelo. And they hosted this screening. And during it, there's a genuine charm and interest in that movie that is, it might not be good, but it might be great throughout the film that I really attached myself to. There's a genuineness to it. It is legitimately bonkers, but in all the best ways. And I did not get that feeling upon this rewatch of The Burning, which is why it's not been featured on the show in the 10 years we've been doing it.
Yeah, I'm sure I must have seen this in the past. I don't remember what I thought about it the first time around. I mean, it may have been just in a glut of slasher movies I was watching at the time.
Sure.
I mean, nothing other than, that, I mean, I'm averse to referring to anything about this movie as iconic. But I mean, I guess with the shot where he's kind of silhouetted against the sun with the hedge cutters.
Right. Yeah.
That's a pretty iconic shot.
It's a striking image for sure.
Right. I mean, that is literally the only thing I remember. That and I remember before watching that and Fisher Stevens getting his fingers cut off.
Yeah. Which it's part of the same sequence. I think It is what people remember from it because it's outrageous in the way that Halloween is certainly far more restrained than this. Friday the 13th, while, has Tom Savini, but it doesn't chain together kills like this. The Voorhees family, not a melee killing group. They're ninjas. They isolate you and take you out one at a time. So yeah, that's where it sort of blossoms into having this cult. And I think because it's Tom Savini effects, because there's so many, there are going to be famous later on people involved in it, it has a greater standing in the horror community than, to my belief, it deserves. Now, if you love this movie, as we've said before in the past, continue to love it. There's nothing wrong with liking a piece of art. But we are not going to reaffirm your feelings on this for the most part. That's my suspicion.
I did not enjoy watching
this was a fucking slog. So let's get some background out of the way here, because I think this is a little interesting considering its time and place. So in 1979, this rat fuck living in human skin wants to get into the film business. And that rat fuck, of course, it's Harvey Weinstein. I'm going to stop saying his name. He's seen the success of indie horror films breaking throughout the 1970s. You have your Texas Chainsaw, your Dawn of the Dead, your Halloweens, right? Halloween looming very large at that moment in time because it had such a micro budget and it overperforms to such a massive degree, essentially being the source code for every slasher we see from that moment on. So this Waste of Carbon and his writing partner, Michael Cole, crafted a scriptment entitled The Cropsy Maniac, based on the common tri-state area urban legend of Cropsy. And so in April of 1979, a month before Friday the 13th actually lands in theaters, they have the idea and a basic outline for what they want to do with this. That being said, the success of Friday the 13th, a mere month later, adds fuel to the fire. And not to put too fine a point on it, for a movie that features a guy who's basically a melted candle. And then the other thing that makes it more attractive is in 1979, that summer, Meatballs is released and does very, very well on top of it. It does not do Animal House numbers, but also considering how cheap it was to make, it returns a lot of money. So you put those two things together, it just seems to make sense, right? So before they can secure funding, they're battling a bunch of similar horror projects that all get going at the same time. We have previously covered Just Before Dawn. Now, that doesn't take place in a camp, but it has some of the same DNA because it's just a group of people out in the wilderness and they're stalked and killed. And I think it's a far, far superior film to The Burning.
Oh, that's not even on the same chart.
If it had Tom Savini effects, I think I wonder if Friday the 13th would have the legend it has. That's how good a movie it is. But there's another movie that's actually competing for the Cropsy crown here, and it's lurking in the background, and it's called Madman. And we, believe it or not, we covered this movie multiple times on Patreon.
A cursed movie.
It is truly cursed. We couldn't record it. We had technical disasters. Audio would disappear. Only a commentary version of the episode survives to this day. But Madman was also written to be a Cropsy riff. And once they hear that another movie has kind of beaten them to the Cropsy punch, they pivot to Madman Mars as their villain. And now online, there's a grand debate whether or not the delay in rewriting the Madman script actually cost it money at the box office. But I refuse to believe there is any world in which Madman is some kind of runaway financial juggernaut.
Well, no, but also at the same time, while I don't particularly care for Madman, it is still a better take on Cropsy and the Burning. Right. And without the objectifying of female bodies. I mean, you get that extremely drawn out sex scene. Yeah. But I mean, the dude's just as naked as she is, and you have, there's a very, distinct line between who's supposed to be an adult and who's supposed to be a child. The biggest question there is, why are they going to this camp in what appears to be November?
Right.
But,
yes.
I think it's got, overall, other than the river attack, a lot better, more creative kills.
And better characters overall. Right.
And I think that they, put more thought into, like, they actually explained why he wanted revenge. Where it's here, it's like, oh, well, some kids thought this counselor was an asshole. We never see him being an asshole.
Yes.
The only thing that seems to be off about him is that I guess he's an alcoholic and also has weirdly large nostrils.
Well, right.
And it's like, is that like a makeup choice? It
has to be, because it's not lit in a way that demonstrates it's not makeup. So.
Yeah, why are you hiring this person to work with children?
We will get into it, Gina. We'll get into it. Now, the other component here, and something I hadn't ever considered, is that this isn't the only movie that at the time is titled itself The Burning, because another cheapo called Don't Go in the House was also filmed under the title The Burning, which makes just as much sense, if not more so, because that entire thing is a psycho sort of ripoff where instead of stabbing people in the shower, you lock them in the basement and you set them on fire. Just a lot more burning people involved. But they change it to Don't Go in the House. I can't say that I recommend the movie unless you are in the mood for the sleaziest thing you've ever seen outside of Maniac, I think.
I mean, this is up there.
It's really up there. I mean, I recommend it more than something like Don't Answer the Phone. That's the nadir. When we reach Don't Answer the Phone levels, it's time to hang it up, Gina. We've run out of horror movies.
Yeah, I was going to say that'll be we've had a good run. Take that hatchet right to our foreheads.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Once the group gets some international investment via the Cannes film market, the screenplay is fleshed out by Peter Lawrence and brother and sex maniac enabler, Bob Weinstein. Now, plenty of websites will tell you that the pair, quote unquote, crafted the plot after slasher conventions. But Gina, I feel this is a bit of revisionist history. It simply does not make sense given the time frame. Because as of June 1980, there had been exactly 2 solid examples of the genre. 3, there's one Christmas one, where it's on an island and it's all day for night. I can't remember the name of it. It fucking sucks. That'll be another one where if we get to it, we're dead. Just pull the fucking plug. So you've got 2 solid examples of the genre at this point. Halloween, Friday the 13th. Yes, lots of proto-slashers, your Black Christmas. Films that feel like slashers in many ways, but have distinct differences like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But really, everyone is riffing off of Halloween, including Friday the 13th. It has the central incident, the introduction of the cast in a specific location. They are stalked. You knock them off one at a time. A finale where the villain appears to get their comeuppance, but may have survived. There are a bunch of movies here. They're all working off the Halloween template that we've covered on the show, but they're all adding elements that the others can't possibly know about. For example, you've got your Prom Night, which is pretty much filming at the same time here. And it's not taking notes from fucking Friday the 13th. And its production is basically, how do we make our version of Halloween? And how do we make it stand out? And they go, all right, let's go Agatha Christie. And Then There Was None style mystery where the killer's reveal is a component of the third act. It's not ripping off Friday the 13th. It's the same idea.
Right.
As such, the burning pretty much tells you right away that Cropsy is the quote-unquote boogeyman of the film in much the same way that Michael Myers was. It's not trying to do a riff. It's just a different location that happens to be the same location every other person is doing at the same time because it's isolated. There are two bright spots in this movie for me. One we've talked about. The casting is insanely prescient. You've got famous faces from young New York City actors who are looking for work. And that comes down to the work of Joy Todd, who's the casting director here. This is only her second movie, but she would go on to cast movies for decades, big and small, Ghostbusters, Prince of the City, Demolition Man. Like, she works. She does a good job here. The second good decision was hiring Tom Savini, who chose this over working on Friday the 13th Part 2. He wants to diversify. But he's riding high off back-to-back work on Dawn of the Dead, Maniac, Friday the 13th. Savini obviously brings a lot of blood that seems syrupy than usual for him. It's very see-through. Yes, yeah, it is. Like, we got that scene where the sex worker is killed. It's like, did she spray Kool-Aid out of her body? Yeah, it's like she put every cherry gusher in her mouth and bit down all at the same time. There's lots of blood, severed limbs, digits. He does everything he possibly can with those shears. And he's also really feeling his makeup design mojo after Jason Voorhees. And much like Jason Voorhees, this is an example of when Tom Savini does too much. I'm not saying I don't love this design. It's awesome to look at. But with Jason Voorhees, he was just supposed to do something minor. And then he shows up with this picture of this is what Jason Voorhees is. And the actress portraying Pamela is like, what the fuck? That's my kid? What? What sort of medical problems does he have? I brought this child to camp. It just throws a huge spanner in the work. Now, we're all fine with it now. Whatever. Like, we've been down this road of why. But granted, the way that Cropsy looks in the aftermath of this accident is so outrageous. And then the hospital's like, off with you then. Oh my God, that is my favorite part of this whole movie. It's beautiful. Like he looks like when they reveal him at the end, he looks like a combination of Sloth from the Goonies. Right. Yeah. Also the Toxic Avenger. Yeah. But also if you lowered them into a vat of hydrochloric acid beforehand. Yes. He looks like someone is about to run him over in RoboCop. Like, I do not know how he survived these burns, but the best part is he spends 5 years in this hospital, quote unquote, recovering from these burns, and it kind of sort of feels like, well, we've done all we can do. Good luck. Good luck. You've got this. We need the room. You've got he's walking out dressed like Darkman, and you can hear this doctor's voiceover. It's like, now, don't blame those boys for what happened. It was an accident. What you can do now is focus on trying to get back into his normal life as a motherfucker. What? What are you talking? What normal life is he going to greet at Walmart? Like, what are his job prospects? He can barely see. Yes. So. We'll get it. I was literally cackling out loud at that moment. Oh, it's just unbelievable. Good luck to you, son. What are you going to do? It's time to hit the bricks, it happens to the best of us. A bunch of asshole kids play a prank and your face gets melted off. That's life. We'll get into it. But it must be noted. It doesn't have to be, but I'm going to say it anyways because I wrote it down. It's filmed in upstate New York in a bunch of camps that they have access to because it's the end of summer. It's edited by future Alone in the Dark and A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 Freddy's Revenge director Jack Shoulder. The movie is picked up for distribution by Filmways Pictures, which had previous success in the genre with movies like Wes Craven's Last House on the Left, Brian De Palma's Dressed to Kill, and the only movie I am aware of that features a stabbing via trombone, The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
Can we get to that one eventually?
Yeah, I think so. I do think we can get to that one. It's less of a slasher and more of a small town thriller, but I do love all the car driving in it. It's one of the few horror movies that just features a shit ton of car driving around town. That said, they really didn't think about the competition at theaters when they decided, Filmways didn't when they decided to put The Burning out the exact same month, Gina, that Friday the 13th Part 2 and Happy Birthday to Me premiered. To which The Burning went down like it had been hit by Muhammad Ali. With a budget of $1.5 million, which ain't nothing, The Burning earned back less than half upon its initial release. It wasn't all crickets, though. I was interested to learn that in one of the markets the movie had been pre-sold into, Japan, it earned $1.2 million back for those investors. It was their money to keep because they had pre-sold the rights to it. So in the end, it was a fucking washout. Part of the reason The Burning's box office may have been muted was we had a full-blown slasher backlash happening at the time. Even Friday the 13th Part 2 makes back a third of what the first film did in initial release. The MPAA asked for major trims before the film received an R rating. Later in the UK, when the VHS distributor actually released the uncut version on video, it was placed on the video nasties list for gore, not for underage butts. Critics didn't care for it either. I didn't write down all the names, but you can remember them. It was described as, quote, a dog, all nastiness, awful, the sort of stuff that breeds contempt.
I mean, I don't disagree with any of that.
So at the end of all that, Gina, what is The Burning? It's trash. It's gauze filtered trash. And we've had trash on this show that we've genuinely enjoyed or found things to crow about, it contained within. But when it comes to The Burning, I think it just genuinely sucks as a motion picture.
Yeah, it's unpleasant. I think we're running into another case of, you have a lot of actors. Like at one point, I mean, the thing that I think that blows my mind the most is that you've got these two adult counselors and the camp manager, and the three of them collectively appear to be in charge of what looks like roughly 200 children of varying ages.
Yes.
Somewhere from preteen to older teen.
I mean, it's never really stated out in the open. Like, are Jason Alexander and company just older campers, or are they CITs? It never says. Like, I would believe it if they were CITs, but they don't come out and say it. They just seem to be the oldest campers at the place. And Alfred himself, he tells one of the counselors at one point, Todd, that he's been forced to go to this camp. He doesn't want to be there. It's the most I related to any sequence in the entire film. Like, I don't want to be camping. Me too, motherfucker. That's why I was the third youngest Eagle Scout in all of California. When I earned the fucking rank, I was done with camping. No thanks.
Well, what I was, I wasn't certain about Jason Alexander being a teen camper until I saw that he has bunkmates with Fisher Stevens, I guess, who was and looks like a teenager. I think he was about maybe 19 when he did this, and looks like a nerdy 15-year-old.
Yeah, he's scrawny.
Yeah, you've got Alfred, who is played by the same actor who played Mark Ratner in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. A year
later, yeah.
A much less much less gross take on a horny, lonely teenager.
Yes. Oh my God. Why aren't we talking about Fast Times at Ridgemont High? Probably because very few people die in it. Gory means. But Gina, our story of the burning begins when a group of puckish teens decides to pull a prank on Camp the Tomahawk. The first camp is Camp Tomahawk. On Camp Tomahawk's socially awkward groundskeeper, Cropsy, as he's known, because why wouldn't you name a child that in 1930 or whatever the fuck, however old he is? I don't know. I don't do math. But I was encouraged to learn here upon this revisit that he's living in a shed like a real lawnmower man.
Yeah, and of course it's filled with garbage and you know and he's got liquor bottles around. It's like, of course, this is the guy you're going to hire to work at your youth camp.
He's sleeping in a room with gas cans with no lids on them. He's essentially huffing gas all night.
I mean, he's really is like, you know, at least partially responsible for what happens.
He's not unresponsible. I mean, certainly the day okay. Let's just get through the sequence because this will explain a lot. So these teens decide to pull a prank where they leave what appears to be an actively rotting and worm-ridden skull.
That one of them just shows up with like, here it is, guys.
Here it is. Like, what the fuck? Is that for sale at the camp store? Did you go to the local Five and Dime and say...
Like, it's never explained how he acquires it. They don't even bother explaining why they don't like this guy. Like,
he's just an asshole.
Like they take, he has no dialogue except screaming at some point.
Yeah.
You know, when he's already on fire. We don't get any examples of him being an asshole, but like, you know, no, it's time to play this, you know, horrific prank on this guy because we don't like him.
Yes, I think, honestly, the movie needs a not long sequence, but one that demonstrates that Cropsy is an asshole that you would want to pull a prank on, as opposed to them just saying it. Oh, he's going to get what's coming to him. This guy who lives in his gas shed. It just, I don't fucking understand it. But this rotting skull that's an active worm farm that they picked up from the fish bait shop. They got one of these. Also has the feature that's interesting. Candles inside the empty eye sockets.
It's like they ordered this like custom made with the candles already inside.
And it was drop shipped to them from China or whatever. And they're like, we got it, guys. This is it. No one thought to open up this box. So they somehow plop it onto his nightstand. And these hellbound youths just start banging on Cropsy's window. And so Cropsy does what I think any of us would have done in this situation. Immediately swipe at this burning skull and knock it over onto his own bed sheets, which immediately catch on fire.
Because, you know, flame retardant material was not available yet in 1981.
Right. And so now that the bed sheets are on fire and maybe his legs, he, of course, knocks over that burning blanket onto a gas can, which immediately explodes. And we get a full-on fire run that is not as long and as impressive as what's in Halloween 2, which also came out the same year. But any fire walk on screen, I always have to give it up for, is one of the most dangerous fucking things you can do on camera.
Yeah, it's a fire walk and it's a fire roll.
It's a fire tumble at a certain point, as he takes quite a tumble from the shack down the endless cheese roll of a hill that they have into the lake river below. Fuck if I know where this takes place. Gina, 1 week later in Chiron, we go to the hospital where apparently this particular ward has assigned one guy to dissuade new doctors from working there. I'm not really sure Is he paid to do that function, or is this something he's doing on his own time?
I think it's something I think he considers it a civil service,
as sort of a public service announcement to, I wouldn't say young doctors.
No, this dude is actively bald.
At one point he says, "You want to be a doctor, right?" I'm like, that guy looks 15 years older than you do. Is this guy interning from the future? Was he on a spaceship?
He looks like the dad from Mork and Mindy.
Yes. And so he's like, no, you gotta see this guy. And then he gives us all of the backstory we just saw with our own eyes.
There's so much. I cannot emphasize enough. There's so much filler in this.
It's just, we are just someone off in the background. It just has a stopwatch and like stretch in every single scene. And so he drags this new doctor into this patient's room and it's like, look at this poor soul. He looks terrible, which again really goes against any sort of medical code that I'm aware of. And of course, Cropsy's like, the fuck you talking to? And grabs this guy's arm. And everyone's like, wah, ah, and they're just screaming at one another like it's Wayne's World.
I just want to stop and mention here, I looked it up.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, this is an hour and 31 minutes long. It does not feel like that. It feels like it is almost 2 hours long.
It feels like an hour and 131 minutes.
Yes, it is. Like it's at a, like after Cropsy gets out and murders this sex worker just because, like I think a good half hour passes before we get another kill.
You're absolutely right.
Instead, like you just get a lot of camp hijinks and butts and unflatteringly shot boob shots and and then we've got this and again to bring up Meatballs, you've got the human pustule who was behind this movie, watching Meatballs and looking at the relationship between Bill Murray and was it Chris Makepeace?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
It's like, well, how can I have that relationship, but the kid's a fucking pervert loser?
He's really a piece of shit.
Where his reasoning for peeping at girls and making them feel unsafe and victimized is, because I get picked on and I don't want to be here. And it's like, I guess the fact that the movie turns him into, makes him the hero at the end. Like, is that supposed to be zagging on the audience, or is the audience supposed to be, boy, I hope that guy survives?
I don't know. I think it's because it was written by people with zero awareness of propriety or just don't have any solid moral boundaries. It is confounding in so many ways. That's it.
The whole reason he is the first one to know there's something, threatening going on is because he can't stop peeping at people having sex.
He's always been peeping on people. To wit of how much this movie stretches, it also, like Friday the 13th, has a white type on black credit sequence that just drones along. And the other war criminal involved in this is Rick Wakeman. He a rock star of some report who is just dropping bloops and bleeps throughout this.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
In the most random, haphazard fashion. It never approaches anything akin to an iconic theme. It's just like, can I do this over lunch is how it feels. And I also was taken aback because at one point it says presented by, and it lists 3 names, 2 of which I've already said. The third one is Corky Burger.
Oh, I love that. That's like and the other one was like, Sir Alfred something or whatever. I'm making that up, but it was some name that was in stark contrast to Corky Burger.
It's just put back to back with one another and underpresented. It was laugh-inducing. But Gina, 5 years later, Cropsy is being released from the hospital for reasons.
His insurance lapsed.
As if like he didn't have a house. He has insurance.
Honestly, let's just face it. I mean, the fact that no one just put a pillow over this man's face at some point, it's a crime.
Really, just come on, man. This is not good. If you find me in full Cropsy mode, I give you permission to just apply the pillow.
Staggering down the street. His vision's all blurry, and it's like, what sort of ethics code are you violating by letting this man just go try to live as normal life as you can now? Just make sure you don't blame those boys.
For some reason, we get a lot of VO explanations of how he should just accept that he has 300% burns all over his body, and that
he has burns, and other people got burned when he got burned.
You feel burned just looking at him, and he immediately is dressed like the Phantom of the fucking Opera in full hat and cloak. And for reasons that continue to astound me, a local lady of the night tries to earn his business and instead earns a stabbing when she recoils at the sight of him. And let's face it, folks, because Cropsy can't. That face is gonzo. This would be a surprise to anyone upon seeing it. We have already seen medical professionals freak out that he's still alive. And that's before we get to the full reveal that he is a man made of melted candles. These are not skin grafts. It is a pile of raw roast beef formed over a skull. The 3 Nazis from the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark would have made a more full, successful recovery from their injuries than Cropsy. Shrunken appleheads are more human-like. Once again, Tom Savini going ham for no discernible reason. Love to see it.
Like half of his face being burned would have been good enough.
Yeah, and yes, but no, it's all of it. And it appears to still be melting. Like the Incredible Melting Man is like, I'd slow down if I were you.
He's got the big Friday guy, which I love the Friday guy.
Yes. Which it sort of feels like Jason Drafts at a certain point. Neither here nor there. I'm not going to just besmirch Tom Savini. I love the man's work. I love the man himself, but it's a lot. Anywho, this sex worker gets stabbed in the stomach with scissors, defenestrated through a window. And then after that happens, Gina, sepia-toned lightning cracks open in the sky from an entirely different movie.
And then nothing proceeds to happen for at least a half hour after that.
Yes. If you listen closely, a werewolf howls in the distance and they're like, nope, we got to be done with that. And like you said, like if you liked, quote unquote, the death of one local sex worker, cherish it, because you're not going to see another death in this movie for more than 30 minutes. What do we get instead? Well, welcome to Camp Stonewater, which looks an awful lot like Camp Blackfoot, probably because it is. Now, this brings up another question I have, Gina, and that is, why does Cropsy attack this camp if he was burned alive at a completely different camp?
And also apparently, well, I mean, to be fair, he does not look like in any way whatsoever which one of those kids was the adult male counselor supposed to be? Was he supposed to be the one with the glasses?
The very last kid that just nods yes at the very end.
Okay, so that was supposed to be him 5 years later?
Yes, and what a 5 years, because he's gotten hot. Did
he age up from 13 to 30 in 5 years?
It's been a hell of a 5 years.
He looked younger than a little younger than the rest of the boys.
Yes, I think that's on purpose. He's the most reticent of them. It almost seems like he's simply going along with it, out of peer pressure. So yeah, I weirdly enough, the burning doesn't have an internal logic to it. And that being said, many of the movies we've loved over the years also don't have working internal logic. But because I don't get any of the major benefits of those other films, being interesting characters, funny situations, bizarreness that I can riff on for hours at a time, and I just get white butts playing softball for what feels an interminable amount of time, yeah, it doesn't do much for me. If you've never heard someone romance a flat ass, is this the movie for you?
Oh my God, there's so many flat fucking asses. And again, like while these characters are allegedly supposed to be teenagers, well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe, I mean, with the backgrounds, they do have actual teenagers.
Right.
So
yeah.
I'm hoping that the ones, that the camera lingers on, we're of age, but you want, flat butts and I guess someone, I mean, we know who someone is, but if you want to know what this movie's about, that's what this movie is about.
Yeah. And some of the actors that the camera leers at definitely look underage. And I just started to get creeped out in all the wrong ways the longer the movie went on.
Got this character, I think her name was Tiger. They're playing softball, which again, what better time to objectify the female body than during a fun game of softball? This is the sequence where you see that one of the girls is wearing a skimpy t-shirt with very obviously no bra underneath it, and again the tiniest bikini bottoms I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And because that's what you wear when you play softball. Anyway, so the ball goes into the woods. Cropsy's obviously there because we get a lot of
yeah.
And he's just staring at Tiger's butt because she's looking for this ball, and which requires her to bend over a lot. And I'm pretty sure this actress seems plausibly maybe 15.
Yeah, it just made me uncomfortable.
And it's like, oh well, we didn't do enough to establish he is in fact a pervert. But you know what? That's okay because everybody is.
Yeah, I mean that's what he has in common with everyone else. And he used to be a carbon-based person, but then most of the carbon was burned away. This is where we meet Alfred, our hero. He's a
hero. I mean, there's no way you can. I mean, I think the audience is genuinely supposed to be, on his side. It's like just let little bro get his rocks off. He's horny. Who's among us?
And because he wants to somehow get back at his bully at the camp, he decides to peep on that bully's girlfriend in the shower. And to me, that's just like the one counselor is right. He should be sent home.
Yes.
There's no reason for him to remain there. And meanwhile, the head counselor is going like, boys will be boys. Well, boys will continue to be this kind of boy if you allow them to fucking do it.
Right. And he's like, well, maybe I'll just become his friend.
Yeah. The bully in question is named Glazer.
Yeah, he's another one. I'm like, he's a teenager?
Gina, he looks like a union rep for the AFL-CIO. I'm sorry. He looks like he owns a lot of sandwich shops. Not a sandwich shop, a lot of them.
Yeah, you've got this other character, Eddie, who is, lasciviously eyeing the girl with the skimpy bikini bottom. Mm-hmm. He's also a teenager who has visible 5 o'clock shadow.
And is balding. Is balding more than Jason Alexander.
I mean, Jason Alexander, full head of hair. I don't know if it's his real hair, but he does have a full head of hair.
He does jump into water with it and come out with it wet. So I think at that moment in time, he had it.
But like when you put these characters against, up with Fisher Stevens, mm-hmm. like it becomes so almost hilariously apparent that none of these actors, save for him, and again, he was not underage, but I think he was still like 19.
Yeah.
What in the fuck are you people doing here? Where you can't even, make it and it's like, I get it, because you want to be able to get away with these characters being gross and being, little creeps and all. And it's like, oh, well, none of them are actually, they're all adults. They're just adults playing teenagers. It's still gross. And it's still stupid when you have these, I don't even know what these people are. Are they counselors? Are they campers? And the fact that you don't think that should matter, says a lot about how much you were actually invested in making a good movie.
Yeah, I genuinely think this is perhaps the most revealing film in the Weinstein category.
Oh yeah, I was actually skimming a Reddit thread about it, and like someone pointed out, which didn't even occur to me, that you have this pattern of what could be politely or impolitely described as sexual harassment with these boys against these girls, and the girls are like, oh no, and then they're like, hey, I actually kind of like it, and it's like, mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, and guess what? When the one, who's the first of the campers to die? One who fights off a date rapist.
Right.
Now, granted, the date rapist dies eventually first, but she dies first.
It's pointed. It is the old internet adage at this point. He's telling on himself. This is what he wants to see, because that's what he wants to do. I don't know why this place is called Camp Blackfoot and not Camp Swim with Your Shirt On, because a lot of the kids are doing it.
I mean, I would have.
Yes. Alfred, as Gina noted, is the first one to see Cropsy, but of course, he would be the first one to see him because he's constantly looking out for kids making out so he can peep on them. And yeah, I guess there's a part of me that can sort of see what people like about it. I guess in the same way that I give myself grace for liking Friday the 13th, but it's unfunny meatballs in a lot of ways, and it's just airless. I keep hoping this movie. Well, I don't know. I think in the past I've hoped this is the time I'm going to watch it and get it, but I don't. I just genuinely think it blows. So sorry to that man.
Yeah, no, it's not, it's not good, bad. It's not, it's just, it has a very specific audience in mind. And it is, now granted, at the time, these were very, the audience for these skewed very heavily male.
Yeah.
Which fine, but like, they're looking for some overlap on like, people who, enjoy these movies, and also, people who enjoy like, sexy cheerleader movies, mm-hmm. or again, like teen sex comedies.
Right. Sexploitation stuff.
Because I feel like other than the River Massacre, there's, he uses the same weapon each time. I mean, I don't know how many times you can see someone get, stuck in the chest or the neck with a hedge cutter blade, but you can see where the interest lies.
Yeah. I think it's probably the movie made for TikTok, because if you took some of the scenes out of context, you would go, oh, this is kind of interesting. But then when you're watching it and you're stuck in this sequence for 5 full minutes that complete with banjo watching dipshits splash one another in canoes. And you're like, this is not fun. What the fuck is going on here? And so we get that sort of campfire lore dump a la Friday the 13th Part 2 with Madman, which I like in those movies, but I don't know what is the appeal here. I mean, it literally is identical to the Part 2 scene where he tells a story and then everyone is scared by a person in a mask. These movies come out the same month. So it is parallel thinking, but again, I like Part 2's a movie. I don't really get that here. And then we, as you mentioned, we get the sequence in which I love this Karen characters. Like I like Eddie. He makes me laugh. I'm scared of him. He pressures me a lot, which I don't like, but then he has a lot of interest in me, which I do. And Eddie is really pushing the have you considered my penis routine. And he's like, listen, we'll just go swimming. Nothing will happen. And of course, they're in the water and naked. And he instantly pushes things. Because
again, we at Kill by Kill, big fans of sex in water.
Your first time should not be in a river. If you're having sex for the first time, it should be in a dry locale. Your locale shouldn't be dry down there, but
it will be if you do it in water.
It will be in doing water, and I can't imagine that would be pleasant.
And just
yeah, and it's so date rapey. And are we seeing the pattern here? Why? And then she gets out of the water, and it all feels somehow worse to a very similar sequence from Friday the 13th Part 2, in which a counselor, Skinny Dips, comes out, finds her clothes missing, and it's from a prankster. But that prankster gets his comeuppance when he's snared in a trap and has a throat slit. This prankster is the killer.
Who's also a pervert.
Sorry, Karen. Sorry you were so naked on screen for so little. Meanwhile, the actor, who I know goes on to other things, is playing Eddie a little too, how do I put this? Passive-fajoule for me.
Yeah. He totally is. Like he just came to that camp directly from Flatbush.
Everyone wakes up the next morning to find Karen gone. Eddie seems less than concerned about it because he didn't get laid. So therefore, it's fine that she's gone. That he, in the best case scenario, chased her away by attempted date rape. The question is asked, what are you thinking? And I don't know that we ever find out. They discover that all the canoes are gone. And they're like, what are we going to do? I don't know. You don't have a backup for this? This is wild to me. And they don't think anything's super wrong. And then they decide to send everyone away in groups to find wood to craft a raft. And I get the wood part here. But as I mentioned in the beginning, where the fuck are they getting all the rope to lash this shit together?
I mean, I feel like, your best bet is to, for one of the adults to just start walking until you find a highway.
Which is what they end up doing.
Like how fucking far away from civilization are you?
But they're like, oh, the woods are so dense, you definitely get lost here. Not if you walk next to the body of water, which is what they end up fucking doing. So, yes, they build this raft. They send 5 of the kids out on the raft, one with a real oar, which I don't know where they got that one. And 4 of them have makeshift oars, which how do you even fucking do that? I'm an Eagle Scout.
Like they did this in like an hour, it looks like.
Yeah. It basically took the morning and then they're off for the afternoon.
Well, let me clarify that they send these teenagers back by themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't have one of the counselors go with them and the other ones stay with the ones at the campsite. But instead they stay, the 2 adult campers, just hang back, and they're fucking around and like not paying attention to, their charges, sneaking off to make out. he's, the male counselor is trying to, get, hey, while we're waiting for help, this will be this will be a good time to have sex. Like, what?
What is?
I'm too busy trying not to have a panic attack right now.
They're not panicking nearly enough. You
are dealing with a missing child that was left in your charge. Like, don't even worry about the fucking what happened to the canoes. How are we going to get back? Your first priority, we need to find this child.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how many times the camera lingers on her semi-nude body, she is supposed to be, for all intents and purposes, an underage charge of yours. So you just say, well, I guess we'll hope. I guess we just have to hope she shows up. Yeah, you better fucking hope she shows up.
Yeah.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
So the kids on the raft spy one of the canoes drifting, and they, after a lot of, come on, because I love it. I love to see and hear people in movies cajole one another for minutes at a time to come on. It's just cinema to me, Gina. They finally arrive to this canoe, and it turns out that Cropsy, in his infinite wisdom, has decided to hide supplying inside this canoe.
Also, because he predicted that somehow that they would just simply jerry rig a raft and come and try to make the trip back to the other campsite on their own.
And it's like, aha, you fell into my perfect trap. Like, the fuck? How long have you been laying down in that canoe waiting for these assholes to build an entire raft and row their way to you? It's fucking insane. And so then he kips up and stabs everyone. And the sequence everyone remembers from the movie, including snipping off fingers, stabbing Eddie in the throat.
Roger, hang on. My boss is calling. Hang on one second.
No worries.
I'm going to mute you.
A few moments later.
All right. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Did you want to take that again?
Or? So I used the time appropriately.
Did you want to redo that, or you think you're good?
Oh, fuck that. I'm done. This is the point where I really started to get antsy, and I'm just writing over and over again. Fuck Rick Wakeman. Can Alfred be killed, please?
We are not alone. Go back to this Reddit thread. We are not alone, by the way, in thinking that making Albert the hero was a baffling choice.
And this is one of those things where obviously, like, I've seen that actor in other things. I know that he can embody a character that I enjoy. It's not personal to him, but this is there. I don't enjoy a lot of the, like, 90% of the characters I simply don't enjoy. There's no one to grasp onto that I'm like, hey, at least there's X. Like I said, I kind of enjoy the banter between, Jason Alexander, Fisher Stevens, and there's like this other camper. I don't remember if he has a name or not, but he's also one of the ones killed on the river attack. Because again, it feels like it's from another movie. Yeah. Where they're they're playing cards, and and it's like, okay, this is the fun meatballs part of the movie, right. But it doesn't belong in this movie because there's so much fucking padding. Well, to wit, we get what a reveal we get that this bully Glazer finally, he's pawing at this girl that's his girlfriend for the vast majority of the movie, in which he's just kind of like, stop, and he never stops because who fucking wrote the movie? And then she finally succumbs to his charms, and wouldn't you know it, Glazer's a 2-pump chump
because he's supposed to be a teenager. And
then he's like, what can I? And this is the only vulnerability shows in the entire movie. It's like, You're cold. What can I do about that? Let me build a fire. And then she's like, oh, you're a human being who cares about other people. And she kind of instantly melts. And I'm like, don't make me like these fucking people right now. So, of course, this director gets paid by the amount of lily white ass showed, because we also get lasers. And then he comes back to camp, grabs some matches and some wood, takes off. Alfred sees this and says, oh, the peeping bat signal has been put in the sky. And, the amount of day for night in this fucking movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And
shameless.
So Glazer comes back, finds that his girl has been murdered somehow. I mean, obviously by shears, but we see the lead up to it, but we don't see the actual kill. And then Glazer is stabbed through the throat, shoulder. I don't know. It comes out his back, but then when you see it from the front, it really looks like it's through his throat.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure what's happening there. I do like the shot where he's pushed back. It's very Evil Dead, where you're from the shears point of view and he's being pushed back towards a tree. Yeah,
they actually make some minimal effort there.
It's on some sort of rig where the actor is like holding himself up like he's a gymnast on those two poles.
Yeah.
And he's kind of kipping up on that. And it's cool. It doesn't make me like the movie anymore. But then it just becomes the slog of everyone begins to realize that something bad is happening here. The older female counselor is like, no, I've got to figure out where those kids are because they should have been back already. She heads off, finds the aftermath, gets to the camp, is able to call a helicopter. And we just get a long sequence of the actor Brian Matthews just wandering through the woods aimlessly.
I mean, luckily he's pretty, so.
Yeah. Alfred gets captured and gets gagged, finally. And
you hear him stop whining for a few minutes.
And then Cropsy pins him to a wall inside this mine with his shears.
Yeah, Cropsy for some reason is like, no, you all hang on to for a few minutes.
Yeah, I want to play with.
For some reason.
Well, I think he's going to use that flamethrower on him, I assume. But luckily for us, Todd, who's part of the reason all this happened in the fucking first place.
But it doesn't really come to anything because, for the best I can tell, Cropsy doesn't recognize him.
No. Which, again, I return to the question, why did he choose this? Other than I think this is the direction that camp is. Oh, there's a camp here. I'm just going to kill a bunch of people here.
Like the fact that, the head counselor, was one of the kids. I mean, it doesn't come to anything.
No, it really
it's like he's awfully comfortable explaining this legend of Cropsy, but then later it seems like, actually, I'm a little troubled by that. And it's like, are you? Because you just told the same story like 20 minutes earlier.
For everyone's entertainment.
It's a scary campfire tale.
It's a scary campfire tale that you were part of the reason it happened in the first place.
I was going to say, for this, this man who's near death, I'm partially responsible for.
But I hope you had a larf, everybody. What the fuck is going on? I'm supposed to like this guy? It's all misconstrued. It's people who have observed humanity but don't really understand how it operates. It just does nothing for me. So Todd has an axe fight with a guy with a fucking flamethrower and takes some damage, but ultimately Alfred is able to free himself from the wall and stab Cropsy in the back with those garden shears. But Cropsy doesn't take this sitting down. In fact, he leaps back up, as you knew he would, to which Todd buries an axe into his forehead. And then Alfred decides to use that impromptu flamethrower to light poor Cropsy on fire yet again. The guy is dead.
Yeah, I mean, he's like leaking brain juice.
And then this voiceover comes on that says, and they never found the body because it was ash. Because that's the only fucking explanation.
Yeah. There was never a burning too.
Yeah, there was never a burning 2, nor should there have been, nor would I ever want such a thing. No. I don't even want the burning 1, as it turns out.
I wish that could be removed from my eyes.
I'd ask, Gina, is there anything we haven't said about the burning? But I have a feeling we've vented our spleens.
Yeah, no, it sucks.
Avoid. It sucks dick in the worst way possible. It's just ass. It's straight cheeks, as the kids say.
Literally and figuratively.
Truly. But of course, what isn't straight cheeks is choosing your own deathventure. And that's where we decide of the deaths presented in the burning. If you were forced to die in one of those ways, which one would it be and why? A lot of these are going to sound familiar because they really are. You can take garden shears to the tummy and defenestrated, or you can have your throat slit. You can have your chest cut open by garden shears, or stabbed in the stomach by garden shears, or have your fingers chopped off first, then your throat cut open by garden shears. Or you can just take garden shears straight to the throatal area. Or you can have your head sliced open by garden shears. Later, you can be stabbed by shears and, I don't know, your body appears in a different location. You can get stabbed in the neck by garden shears, or stabbed in the back by said shears, axed to the head, incinerated by your own flamethrower.
Yeah.
What's the good one?
I do. Well, I think that the fingers getting cut off is the best one. I don't want that.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to take slash throat.
Yeah, I think slash throat is really the way to go here. In most circumstances, it wouldn't be interesting enough. But I don't like any of these other things, and I don't like this movie. I think it sucks. Gina, where can people find you on these here internets?
I write about movies and pop culture on my newsletter, ginawatchesthings.ghost.io, and I am mostly on Instagram under Gina Does Things.
Do it today, people. Check it out. You can find me on screamshare.beehive.com. That's BEEHIIV.com, where I give you 3 streaming options to read each and every week so that your weekend is horror-filled, not horror-less. And you can find us on your socials everywhere, but Twitter, on your Threads, your Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram. We even have a Discord server for you to chat at us, or maybe you want to talk back on Spotify or YouTube. Even if you don't listen on YouTube, joining the list there of subscribers helps us be seen and heard by more people who have found us there. It's a really easy way to talk back. We really enjoy it. And of course, you can buy stuff in our t-shirt shop. We've got great designs there. Please join us on our Patreon and help support the show financially. You get bonus episodes each and every single month, commentaries, question and answers, and bonus apps. That just about does it. Please forgive everyone. These episodes are not timely. I'm in a different country when this is happening. It is being recorded well in advance. But know that even from a different time zone, distant from you, I still care deeply that you love the show. For myself and for Gina, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.